Hey, Hakase here. So it's the beginning of week 5 of my challenge, and let's check the volts. First, starting with my DK. Let's see. Not really important because I've already hit 3k. A Mythic neck. Nice. DH second most important. So the most important character, the one I need the most gear to boost me on, is definitely my monk, so let's hope for something good. Mythic legs, yes! That's literally what I need. So here's the state of affairs after the last episode. My Demon Hunter is getting super close to 3k, having timed my first 13 last week. I am ready to finish it off this week. My monk is also in a decent position. Timing my first 12 last week has given me the confidence that I can get it to 3k. Most importantly, both characters are in a great position gear-wise, and funnily enough, with some lucky drops in raid and nice vaults, my monk can hit 671 item level once I get the crest to upgrade a couple of pieces and craft a headpiece. My character is being absolutely primed to hit 3k this week, so game face on, I jumped straight into a Cinder Brew 10 to warm up on the monk, which we somehow timed despite having 20 deaths. But no bad thoughts, only looking forward, and forward was a Rookery 12. We were looking incredibly good on time, but the last boss had other plans for us. We ended up wiping, going again, and wiping again. But this was not going to be the last failure on the last boss in Rookery 12 this week, let me tell you. Absolutely tragic turn of events, but I still needed a Rookery 11 anyway, so jumped into that and we timed it with no issues. I was still determined that I could heal 12s, so went for my Cinder Brew 12, and despite having 8 deaths in the run, we made the timer with over 4 minutes to spare. Then it was time to jump on the Demon Hunter and warm up on that, which I did in a Dark Flame 12. I've already timed the Dark Flame 12, but it ended up giving me 2 points anyway, as it was done in better time. Feeling good enough with that warm up, I jumped straight into a 13 workshop. Safe pulls, no risky skips, and we had one of the cleanest runs ever, timing it with only 2 deaths. I recommend any tank to minimize risk in your PUG runs to increase your success chance. This workshop was my friend's key and she got a Theater 14, and I was not about to shy away from that, so we put a nice group together and got into the dungeon. The area after the first boss went super smooth. We successfully skipped the last mini boss with the Druid Roar and were soon on our way to the third boss. Unfortunately, I derped hard and didn't realize that my friend had died and wasn't back yet, and I jumped into the boss. Thankfully, his pull ability pulled her into the room even though she was stuck outside. People saying stuff in the chat distracted me and I started panicking, not knowing if something was wrong, which made me play absolutely horrible on this boss, and I actually ended up dying, which happens very rarely to me on my Demon Hunter, but I got an instant res and we recovered. Overall, we made steady but kinda slow progress, and after the fourth boss, the timer was looking very dire. We still had Lust, but only about 3 minutes to kill the last boss, and we absolutely couldn't have deaths on it, so the pressure was on. But we never give up, and we actually made the timer with 3 seconds to spare. Having timed that 14, which was by the way the first 14 on any character that I've done this season, there was no way I was stopping before hitting 3k, and I jumped straight into a Rookery 13, which is supposed to be easy, and it kind of was up until the last boss, again this cursed last boss. We also had deaths on this last pack. Be careful on it, it does an unexpectedly huge amount of damage, but we were still looking perfectly fine on the timer. I don't know what it is about this boss, but people just die, and one death snowballs really fast. We wiped, came back, and by that point it was impossible to make the timer. But that was certainly not going to deter me this close to achieving my goal, so I jumped straight into another Rookery, and this time we didn't die to the last boss, and getting the last bit of count, I was now only 5 points away from 3k, and so it was time to get back to the only dungeon I haven't yet timed on 12, which was the cursed Cinder Brew. If you've seen last week's episode, you know I failed Cinder Brew 12 twice, both in very tragic manners, but I was ready to break the curse and hit 3k. And the Titans were on my side this time, as we had the cleanest run ever, actually 2-chesting the key and catapulting my score by 33 points to 3028 rating. There was only one thought in my mind at this point: my monk is next, let's go baby. So I went straight into my Dark Flame 13 on my monk, and man, it's a real roulette with the first area. Your tank pulls well, it's easy peasy. Your tank doesn't pull well, it's instantly over. Unfortunately in this 13 our tank picked the latter option. Well, it's fine, I still needed the Dark Flame on 12 anyway, so jumped straight into that, but after having far from the cleanest run ever, our group and I decided to thoroughly shit ourselves on Candle King and it was over. But I was not discouraged and jumped straight into my friend's Cinderbrew 12. Unfortunately, that was over on the first pull, but was I going to be discouraged? Hell nah. Next up was Floodgate 12 and I knew the crux of this key was the third boss. The group, however, decided to activate the hard mode on this boss by not deactivating the turrets, but that wasn't going to stop Giga Chaz like us, hell nah. And despite me doing my customary death on the last boss, we timed it with ease. Plus 28, baby. I was so hyped after healing Floodgate that I was not about to shy away from any key, even this Theater 13. To me as a melee healer, the first boss of Theater is the hardest part of the dungeon. But serious face on, despite racking up a bunch of deaths before the last boss, we managed to kill it and time the dungeon for a staggering 43 score. At this point I felt like higher keys are not necessarily harder, it all depends on whether everyone in the group plays well, so I had no reason to shy away from trying the 14, which was a workshop. In my mind, it was either gonna go well and we time it, or it was not going to go well and then I'd go for the 13. And this positive attitude, as well as having a warlock for the skip, really paid off, and despite having a bunch of deaths throughout the dungeon, we pretty easily timed it. I just timed a 14 for 52 points on my monk. What? All I knew that I was hitting 3k today. Spoilers, the Titans had other plans for me. Following my previous methodology of going for high keys, I also realized that you actually don't necessarily get a lower chance to time keys in the 14 to 15 range at this point in the season, because you just get better players signing up to them, which offsets the difficulty increase imposed by the key level. So what did I do? Went straight into the 15 I got, which was a Motherload. Unfortunately, we got destroyed by this absolute monstrosity of a trash pack, where huge AoE damage from the Peacekeeper overlaps with the Fan of Knives of an ad standing in goo. But all this meant was that I was going into the Motherload 14. Unfortunately, the same trash pack decimated us, but we didn't give up until the second boss despite already having 12 deaths, but the ad was not killed in time and we had a full wipe. Not to worry though, because I still needed Motherload 13. We racked up a bunch of deaths. Just the area before the last boss alone resulted in 4 deaths, but thankfully Motherload is not that punishing and we timed it with only 30 seconds to spare despite having 10 deaths on the board. This Motherload gave me a Darkflame 14 key, and I wonder if you can guess what was going to happen here. Yeah, it was over in the first area as usual. But it's alright, we still have the 13, surely we can't have 2 disasters in the first area back to back like I just did a few hours ago. No, we definitely can. Well, the silver lining is that I still needed the 12, so onwards and downwards we go. This run was actually super clean and we ended up 2-chesting it, which put me at 2974 rating. I wanted nothing more than to hit 3k the same day, but it was getting late and I had expended most of my mental energy healing all of these keys, and it really showed in the next key I tried. This Rookery 13, where I just ran into the laser on the first boss, and that really made me realize that I need to finish this up after some sleep. Next day upon waking up, my mission was simple. I had 2 keys that were not done on 12. Timing them both would put me over 3k rating. The mission for the day was Priory and Rookery. So I started with the Priory 12, but our tank dropped dead on the first boss. My 2 cents for any tanks pugging keys at this level: think twice about using full damage talents and 2 damage trinkets. I've seen a lot more keys fail to tanks dying than missing a timer on damage when everything else went okay. Anyway, following that, I jumped straight into a Rookery 12, and my goodness, we racked up some serious numbers of deaths on this trash pack from hell. Having 12 deaths before the second boss, I definitely felt like the run was absolutely doomed. But you know what I say, never give up. Unless you're like super tilted. So on the last boss, it was looking tight as hell, but not impossible. At this point, we realistically only had 1 more damage phase on the boss if we wanted to make the timer, and somehow we made it in like the last millisecond before the 4th shield. 2990 rating. 1 more key. Priory. So I jumped straight into a Priory 12. Everything was going well until this pull. This pull is actually no less dangerous than the previous one, as you still have 4 paladins in it, which is 4 divine tolls, but we didn't have lust on it nor my cooldowns. In addition, I released after dying, meaning it was going to be a full wipe. That release was the thing that ultimately cost us the timer. If I got a quick res, I would have probably prevented a full wipe and huge run back, and we would have timed it. Oh well. All it meant was that I was gonna get it in the next one, and the next Priory 12 went way smoother. As the last key of the challenge, I will let it play out in full, only skipping bits where we were walking. I really hope you've enjoyed this series. Thank you so much for watching all the way through, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Shout. AoE. Shout. AoE. AoE.
Your training grounds fall to the intruders.
Shout.
Dale cried.
Chainer. Lieutenant, eliminate these vermin. Finish them off, Lieutenant.
You won't peel off anymore.
Oh, I see. They seek to ambush me without my lieutenant. This is the true path for the Arathi. My spear aims true. Feel embers rise.
Kick. Defensive.
Off, Lieutenant. Feel embers rise. My spear aims true.
Kick. Defensive.
Off, Lieutenant. My dragon claw. My spear aims true.
Kick.
Embers rise.
Defensive.
Off, Lieutenant.
Kick.
My spear aims true. Embers rise.
Kick.
Glory.
Dale cried. He still strikes lackeys. God! God! past. Soon, the true faithful will arise, and the Arathi will be mighty. Demonstrate your worth.
Those who oppose the Emperor will fall at our feet. By the Emperor's will!
Hammers. Soaks. Move. Hammers. Soaks. Move. Hammers. Soaks. Move. Hammers. Soaks. Move.
She has always preached of the strength of the Emperor's will. To turn against us is madness.
It burns away weakness. Its blinding light reveals the strength we Arathi lacked. With an army of the risen, we
Targeted.
defeat the Nerubians, conquer Kazalgar, and subjugate the world.
No, such heresy. They defile the sacred flame by animating the dead. No one better than a chorus.
Targeted. Targeted.
Outsiders, Beladar's sacred flame will simply raise him back to duty. Sacred flame will cleanse your transgression! Burn by sacred flame!
Beam.
Blazing purified!
Turn.
Burn by sacred flame! Flames
Beam. Turn.
Brothers and sisters, hearken to the flame! Burn by sacred flame!
Beam. Turn.
Burn by sacred flame!
Beam. Turn.
See you burn.
Oh shit! These zealots no longer steer our faith towards destruction. All who take comfort in the light of the sacred flame, thank you.